do you anticipate being back here in New England next season?
Listen, I have my desires. I know where my heart's at. I know, you know, the things that, who I am. But as far as that, I can't really speak on that right now. But just my whole time here in New England has just been a blessing. I've learned so much about myself, about the great teammates, unbelievable coaching, and yeah. So I just see how it goes, and we'll go from there.
To say that Cam Newton's career in New England had plenty of ups and downs would be a little bit of an understatement, but yesterday, we got some information surrounding Cam Newton's future. So what's going on, guys? Your boy Mike here, and before we get to the content, I just wanted to let you guys know that we're giving away a PlayStation 5 to a subscriber that turns on our notifications on this channel. Whether you're an old subscriber or a new subscriber, if you subscribe and hit that notification bell, you've entered for a chance to win a PlayStation 5. If you want additional entries, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, as I did just receive multiple pairs of AirPods Maxes that I'm planning on giving away to a subscriber that follows me on Twitter and on Instagram. Now that we got all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Guys, it doesn't take a genius to know that this year was a very make or break season for Cam Newton. After dealing with a very difficult shoulder injury that clearly hampered him throughout the season, Bill Belichick needed Cam Newton to move on from the Tom Brady era, and Cam Newton essentially needed Bill Belichick in order to resurrect his career. After getting cut by the Carolina Panthers, things weren't necessarily looking so good for Cam, and while the union made a lot of sense on paper, the results were underwhelming at best. And just by looking at his statistics, you'd know that he threw for 8 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 2,657 yards, and had a completion percentage of 66%. While that completion percentage does look a little bit more impressive, it's because he had significantly less attempts with the New England Patriots in comparison to his years with the Carolina Panthers, almost 100 less attempts, because he almost 100 less attempts in general. But if you watched Cam Newton play, you'd see that there was something off with his throwing motion. It wasn't like he was a 100% old version of himself, and that's what we were to expect coming into this year, because it was clear that Cam Newton had a long road ahead of him if he wanted to be able to come back into the NFL. But from my assessment from watching Cam Newton, he clearly wasn't the player that he once was. Yeah, I think he would easily work out in a system that didn't really require him to throw the ball much more than like 5 to 10 yards, but what head coach would possibly want a quarterback like that? While I do sound like I am a huge and harsh critic on Cam Newton, there is something else that we need to take into consideration, because I do really want him to succeed. It's the fact that the New England Patriots were destined to fail from the very beginning of this year. As a matter of fact, if you look at their entire roster, Cam Newton had no offensive weapons whatsoever. He had to lean on an inconsistent run game, and the New England Patriots' best players opted out of this season. I thought from the very beginning that the New England Patriots were not going to make it to the playoffs, and I was right. As a matter of fact, I was surprised that they were able to eke out 6 wins in of itself, because they had like nobody else except Cam Newton and Bill Belichick, and the fact that they were able to accomplish what they did is a miracle in my opinion. But here's where things get interesting, because you saw in the very beginning, Cam Newton said that he doesn't know what his future holds, but it's a foregone conclusion that both Cam Newton and the New England Patriots are probably going to go in separate directions. And it makes a lot of sense. The New England Patriots have a decent draft pick, maybe Zach Wilson or Justin Fields, or maybe they reach for Mac Jones, falls into their lap with that mid-round pick that they got. But as for Cam Newton, the rumors around him are a little bit more interesting, because Adam Schefter had this to say about Cam Newton, and I felt like it was important for us to dissect it for you guys. The most natural spot for Cam Newton would be Washington if he's going to leave New England. As for what that contract might look like, I am going to guess 2 years with incentives, $40 to $50 million. Now, It's very important that you understand what 2 years with incentives mean. It means that Cam Newton probably will not get the 40 or 50 million that he's offered. And when you compare that type of contract to other players that aren't top tier starters, say Teddy Bridgewater makes $23 million per year annually. But when you look at all quarterback starting salaries, you have Taysom Hill that gets paid $10.5 million per year. Then there's a huge jump to Teddy Bridgewater that gets paid $21 million per year. And then you get to Alex Smith that is in his age 37 season and is getting $23.5 million per year. And he's not set to be a free agent until 2023. So my main issue with this entire situation is, yes, Adam Schefter, I see what you're doing. You're drawing a parallel between Cam Newton and Ron Rivera because Ron Rivera is the head coach of the Washington football team, and he's essentially established a culture there that is eerily reminiscent of the one that Cam Newton had during his 2015 MVP season. He's supported by a very strong defense, and he's just missing a fairly solid quarterback to really make sure that this team can make a deep run. And Dwayne Haskins clearly isn't it, but unfortunately, Alex Smith isn't able to stay healthy more often than not, so therefore Cam Newton seems to make the most sense. The reason why I don't think this is going to happen is simply because the Washington football team already have what they need in the form of a older quarterback that is a pretty good mobile game manager in Alex Smith. He's getting paid $23.5 million per year, and I can't imagine them paying money to get out of that contract because I think it's a pretty decent contract for the type of player that Alex Smith is. As a matter of fact, if you're able to draft well, which they completely botched the opportunity to draft well when they selected Dwayne Haskins, then Alex Smith has proven throughout his entire career that he could be a remarkable mentor for a upcoming young QB. As a matter of fact, Alex Smith has been a phenomenal bridge quarterback through the entirety of his career. Literally since the moment that John Harbaugh took the position with the San Francisco 49ers a decade ago, Alex Smith went from promising former number 1 overall pick to 5-year veteran whose career literally just got turned around as a result of a head coaching change that was the bridge QB to Colin Kaepernick. He goes to Kansas City, he plays fairly well under Andy Reid, and eventually he becomes the bridge quarterback to Patrick Mahomes. He gets injured, the Washington football team drafts Dwayne Haskins, and unfortunately Dwayne Haskins doesn't pan out for the Washington football team, and Alex Smith is on and off of games because he's been dealing with injury issues. I don't necessarily see how this is going to be much different from what you're going to experience with Cam Newton, because the only thing I think that is really different from Cam Newton and Alex Smith is I feel like Alex Smith could make more throws than Cam Newton can, although Cam Newton could stay on the field a little bit more than Alex Smith can. With that being said, do I think that the Washington football team would offer Cam Newton such a contract? Well, I can imagine them offering him a backup quarterback type of contract in the event that Alex Smith goes down, but I don't think it would be anywhere near 20, 30, or 40 million. I think it'd be very similar to what he signed with the New England Patriots, maybe a slight bump over that. Because Cam Newton at this point hasn't proven to me that he could be a consistent starter in the NFL today, but I hope that changes. I hope he rehabilitates his shoulder somehow and is able to start making those throws. I think the league is better when Cam Newton is better, and he's without a doubt one of the most electrifying talents we've ever seen in the NFL, and I'm truly rooting for him. But in terms of this Adam Schefter report, do I buy it? Not necessarily. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think about Cam Newton? Do you think he's going to sign with the Washington football team? If not, where do you think the Washington football team should go in terms of their new quarterback? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.